Hello, thank you for joining me once again. My name is Josh Barakogumbe, and I know and I believe and I trust that we're being inspired and transformed. Right now, even as we are facing a global pandemic with a coronavirus, I want us to look at and analyze some things in the light of the scriptures so that we may be able to get an understanding through the scriptures. And as we look at this and ask ourselves some important vital questions, I pray that our eyes may be opened. Once I was driving and I had Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, and he was telling people that he wanted them to forsake their religions, and he comes and teach so that he can come and teach them how to get out of being third world countries and become first world countries and eradicate poverty from their countries. And I thought, quite interesting. So, and it is not strange that when this virus began, it began in China, and it has affected so much there. Everything is in a shutdown right now. So we are going to look at the light of the scriptures right now, because today we are going to look at the effects, the cause and effects, because everything has a cause and everything has an effect. Everything has a cause and everything has an effect. The universal law of the cause and effect states that for every effect, there is a definite cause. Likewise, for every cause, there is a definite effect. Your thoughts, behavior, actions create a specific effect that manifests and creates your life as you know it. Your life as you know it. The law of cause and effect. Things don't just happen. There must be something that triggered it to happen. Some people say it's because they eat funny things in China, but is that the real cause that caused this to happen? And I think we need to ask ourselves some sincere and honest questions as people during this time, because questions are very important. Questions are very important. Once a very bright man said this: a question opens the mind, but a statement closes the mind. A question opens the mind, but a statement closes the mind. So it is time for us to ask ourselves questions during this time. It is time for us to ask ourselves questions during this time. That is the guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A very nice book. What kind of questions are we asking ourselves concerning what is currently happening globally and affecting the lives of people all over the world? What kind of questions are we asking ourselves? It is not new. Pandemics have been there even in the olden times of the Bible. The Bible says about Exodus, when Pharaoh refused and he was stiff-necked and he refused to listen to God, God sent plagues and all these kind of things that came to the Egyptians until Pharaoh managed to let them go. But one very specific one I want us to look at is when David counted the children of Israel, which God had told them not to do so. The Bible says he did a census of the children of Israel, and the Lord released his angel And the Bible says there was a plague in the land. There was a plague in the land. And 70,000 people died in less than 3 days. Right now, what we are seeing is about the death in the current figures that I saw this morning is just about 8,000 people or 9,000 people, about 9,000 people that have died since this morning when I saw the last figures all over the world. But this one was a plague that killed 70,000 people. And this is why the book of Ecclesiastes says that when times are good, rejoice. But when they are tough or bad, consider. It is time for us to consider and analyze. Analyze properly what has happened. Analyzing something critically and looking at it, separating the parts. We need to analyze something, looking at it critically and separate the parts. Very important for us as a people. Very important for us as a people. So David brought this to the children of Israel because he disobeyed. And the plague hit them so hard. And when it turned its face to Jerusalem, the Bible says God said, enough. Enough. And David saw the angel that was doing this, and the Bible says he was terrified. And he asked God, Lord, these guys have not sinned. Please, me and my family, deal with us, me and my family. But God told him the things that he needed to do. The things that he needed to do. So it's also important for us at this time to look at which divine order or divine law. There is a divine order and a divine law. When they are broken, there are effects or repercussions. There are divine orders and divine laws. When they are broken, there are effects and repercussions. Which divine order have we as a people broken that has brought this effect? Because for every cause, there is an effect. And for every effect, there is a cause. That's the law of cause and effect. Which divine order have we broken that has brought this thing into our life? So it's a time for us to ask ourselves these critical questions. And if we can ask ourselves these critical questions, it will be very helpful for us. Albert Einstein said this: If I had an hour to solve a problem, and my life depended on it, on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper questions to ask. For once I know the proper questions, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. Are we asking ourselves the right questions as a people? Are we asking ourselves the right questions as a people? David was terrified when he saw the plague and the angel that had brought the plague. And the Bible says, there at the field, we'll look at how he managed to offer a sacrifice and all that later on. But right now we are asking ourselves critical questions. Like Albert Einstein, if your life depended on it, I would take, and I only had an hour, I would take 55 minutes asking critical questions. The Bible says in Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 25 that this is talking about a curse. Deuteronomy chapter 28. And this is when God was telling them about the blessings and the curses. If you do not, verse 29, the Lord will send fierce plagues on you and your descendants, harsh, prolonged disasters, and severe, lingering illnesses. He will bring upon you all these disasters, the disasters of the Egyptians that you dreaded, and they will cling to you. The Lord will also bring to you every kind of sickness and disease not recorded in this book of the law until you are all destroyed. Until you are all destroyed. The curse came when man sinned. The curse came, and the curse came as a threefold. It came with sickness and disease. It came with poverty, lack, and debt, and it came with death. That is what the curse came with. And when we look at this, the plague right now that is going around, it resembles and it looks like a curse. And that simply means that there is a divine order that has been broken somewhere. And what is this divine order that has been broken? We need to analyze this carefully as a people. We are going to look at that tomorrow. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance on you and grant you peace.